Hey, good morning. Welcome to Salva's class. I want you to be welcome here to this third lesson that we are sharing together. And as always, I want you to pay attention and be aware of all the things that we said here in order to catch the information and learn together. So, in the previous class, we were talking about a topic that was about relative clauses. So we talked about relative pronouns too. So in order to remember a little bit about what we were talking about in previous class, we are going to write as many relative pronouns that you remember at home. So you can take your time and you can pause the video, but just for 1 minute. You will have just 1 minute to write as many relative pronouns as possible that you can use in relative clauses. So pause the video and then we're going to continue. This is just for remember, but you can take your time. So now that you have done the activity, I'm going to remember some of them. So, some of the relative pronouns that we checked in the previous class were who, whom, where, when, whose, what, that, and so on. So, if you have achieved this activity, I'm so glad with you because it means that you're paying attention and it means that you are doing well and you are learning. So these lessons are worth it for you. So I'm so happy if you achieve this goal. So we're going to start with the topic of today, that is gerunds and infinitives. But we're going to know how to choose the right one. We're going to know when we have to use gerunds and infinitives, but when they are working as objects of the verb. So what does it mean? So it means that we're going to choose the right option when we have two verbs together. So there are many verbs that just admit gerunds as objects of the verb, but there are many others that just admit infinitives as objects of the verb, but there are other cases that admit gerunds and infinitives, and they do not change the meaning if we use gerunds or infinitives. But there are other cases that if we use gerunds or if we use infinitives, the meaning of the sentence is going to change. So we're going to learn about these different rules that we have to follow, and we're going to check some of the verbs that admit just gerunds or admit just infinitives or admit both or admit or they change or they do not change the meaning. So we're going to start now. We're going to be able to know how to choose the right one, if gerunds or infinitives, depending on the main verb. So we're going to continue now. So first we're going to start with gerunds. So if you're asking what are gerunds, gerunds are verbs, as you know, but they at the end are added the ing letters. So as you can see here, a verb in gerunds are formed with the letters ing at the end. So we have the base form of the verb plus ing. So in this case, we have here some examples that you can check. For example, here we have the first example is look. Look is is simple, and this is the base form of the verb. And then we have the ing form. So we obtain as a result a gerund, look, and ing is looking, and this is a gerund form of the verb. It is the base form of the verb, and ing the suffix that we add at the end. So we have as a result eating, playing blue, and ing in red, so we have playing. So as you can see here, there are many different verbs that we can transform into the gerund form, but there are some special cases that are a little bit more complicated to transform to the gerund form. So in this case, we have the verb come. As you know, the base form of the verb come is com and e, but we don't see here the letter e. We just see coming. So in these special cases, we have to erase the last letter of the word, in this case of this verb, and add ing. Another case that we have here is lying. As you know, the base form of the verb lying is lie. In this case, we have to change the two last letters and change them with the letter y and add the ing form. So there are some special cases that need an extra way to change. So there are some special cases in verbs that need to erase the last letter, or at least erase the two last letters in order to add the ing form and make them and transform them in the gerund form. So we're going to continue now with infinitives. So what is a verb in infinitive? As I have told you, verbs can be followed as an object of the verb in an infinitive form also. So infinitives are prefaced with the word to. They are easier to build because you have just to first write the word to and then the verb in the base form. So we have here some examples. To look, first in red the word to and then the base form of the verb in blue. You have here look. Then we have another example. To eat, to play, to come, to lie. As you can see here, the base form of the base forms of the verbs didn't change in this case, so it's simpler in this case to build in the infinitive forms of the verb. So we're going to continue now checking some verbs in the list of the verbs that can be followed by ing form. So these verbs admit the ing form, in this case, as you know, the gerund form as objects of the verb. So when you see verbs like continue, dislike, enjoy, finish, hate, like, love, miss, prefer, recommend, suggest, it means that if you have to use another verb as an object of the verb, you need to transform this object of the verb in the gerund form, to the gerund form. So the second verb will be in the gerund form. And how can you recognize these verbs that are preceded by the gerund form. There is no way, there is not an exact way. You have just to bear in mind and try to remember these verbs in order to write correct and properly. So, the first verb that I mentioned you that accepts as gerunds, the object of the verb was continue. So he continues doing sports every day. As you know, it accepts just the gerund form, so the second verb is here. The object of the verb here appears like a gerund. Then we have they dislike eating snails. So it accepts the verb dislike accepts just gerund form. So it, as you can see here, we wrote the verb eating. Then we have I enjoy going out with my friends. As you can see here, also we have the gerund form. Finish is another verb that accepts just gerund forms before the verb. So he finished doing her homework very late. We hate losing our matches. Gerund form also. He likes running marathons. So the next example we have here is I love cooking cakes. Also, you miss playing with your computer. Do you prefer playing cards than football? I recommend watching that movie. Or he suggests going to the cinema. So as you can see here in all these examples, before this the main verbs, we have as objects of the verb gerunds, so cooking, playing, watching, going, because these verbs accept the ing form or the gerund form as objects of the verb. So we are going to continue with the next one, and this is the list of verbs followed by infinitive. So is in the previous slide we watched and analyzed some verbs that accept gerunds. Here we have another type of verbs that they accept infinitives. So we're going to look and analyze these verbs. And so the verbs that follow by an infinitive are agree, appear, be able, begin, choose, decide, expect, forget, happen, hope, learn, manage, plan, promise, refuse, seem, want, and wish. So here I have some examples in order to understand better and illustrate what I'm talking about. And so the first one says, I agree to come home. So as you can see here, agree is a verb that admits that is followed by an infinitive. So it admits infinitives. In this case, I agreed to come home. To come is an infinitive. So here then we have he began to work very hard after the boss spoke to him. So in this case, begin is another verb that is followed by an infinitive. So in this case, infinitive is to work, and the verb is in the past. They hope to finish on time. Also here we have the infinitive form following the main verb, in this case hope, and this is also in the list as you can see here. Then we have she wants to watch that movie. Want, as you can see here, is verb that is followed by an infinitive, in this case to watch. So we're going to continue checking the verbs that can be followed by both infinitive or the ing form. In this case, as you know, these are known as gerunds. So, as in the beginning of this video, I have mentioned that there are some verbs that can be followed by infinitives or gerunds, but they do not change the meaning of the sentence when we have an infinitive after the main verb or a gerund. So we are going to look now what are those verbs. So they doesn't change the meaning if they are followed by infinitives or gerunds. Begin, propose, forbid, intend, start, begin, can't bear, can't stand, continue, hate, like, love, prefer, propose, start. So in order to understand better, in order to illustrate what I'm talking about, I'm going to present you some examples, and we're going to analyze together why do we say that they don't change the meaning when we use infinitives or gerunds after these verbs. So these examples are: I remember attending to dance classes. So in fact, now in order to understand better what I'm talking about, I'm going to present you some examples that will help us to figure out why, when we said that they don't change the meaning if we use infinitives or gerunds after these verbs, the meaning is the same. So in the first example we have I remember attending to dance classes when I was a child. So what if I change the underlined word, in this case the gerund form, with an infinitive? I will obtain as a result, I remember to attend to dance classes when I was a child. It has the same meaning when we use a gerund or an infinitive, so it's okay, it's properly written or properly said to use after the verb remember a gerund or an infinitive. The next example that we have here is remember to repeat the questions before handing out exams. So what happens if I change the infinitive form for a gerund? Remember revising the questions before handing out the exam. As in the previous case, they don't change the meaning of the sentence, so you are able to use an infinitive or a gerund after these verbs. Also, my grandmother forgot to lock the door when she left the house. It's okay to use also a gerund instead of the infinitive form, in this case, to lock. My grandmother forgot locking the door when she left the house. It has the same meaning, it doesn't change. I repeated the activity because I forgot doing it last week. If I change the underlined word, in this case the gerund form, with an infinitive, it's gonna be in this way. I repeated the activity because I forgot to do it last week. It has the same meaning because they don't change if we use infinitives or gerund forms. It will be the same. So you are able to use whether the two forms of the verbs, infinitives or gerunds. So we're going to continue now with the fourth case or the fourth situation that you have to bear in mind and take into account always when you speak or write, and you have to use objects of the verb. So here we have this case that says verbs that can be followed by both infinitive or gerund and have different meanings. So in the previous slide, we saw and analyzed some verbs that can be followed by infinitives and gerunds, and they do not change the meaning of the sentence. But here we are going to observe and analyze some verbs that can be followed by infinitives or gerunds, but they change the meaning of the sentence. When we use an infinitive after these verbs, it means something, but when we use a gerund, it means another totally different thing. So we must bear in mind which are these verbs when speaking or when writing in order to avoid misunderstandings. And so we're going to start with the most important verbs. The most important verbs that we frequently use are remember, forget, regret, stop, try, go on, and kid. So after these verbs we can use infinitives or gerunds, but they change the meaning according to the form of the object of the verb that we are using. So I'm going to provide you some examples in order to understand better what I'm talking about. So please pay attention, because you need to be aware of these differences. And so the first example that I have here is stop. So when we have a gerund or the ing form after the verb stop, it means that we don't do that anymore. But when we use an infinitive after the verb stop, it means that we do it indeed. So is it clear? I'm gonna help you to figure out through illustrating some examples. So please pay attention. It's gonna be so easy for you. Examples. So in the first case, I have written, you have to stop writing at 10 o'clock. As you can see here, the underlined word is a gerund. So as you can see here, the meaning of this sentence is that you have to stop, or we don't do that anymore. We don't write anymore at 10 o'clock. But when we use an infinitive, we have here another example. After 5 hours of hard work, we stop to have a rest. We are using here an infinitive after the verb stopped. So it means that we do it indeed. What if I change you have to stop to write at 10 o'clock? It means that I write it indeed. And if I change here with the gerund, after 5 hours of hard work, we stop to have rest. After 5 hours of hard work, we stopped having rest. We don't do that anymore. So, as you can see here, they are different because of the meaning. They do not mean the same thing as in the previous slide. We saw some verbs that they can be followed by infinitives or gerunds and they mean the same. But here it's a totally different thing. We have to bear in mind the meanings of the gerunds and infinitives before, after each verb, in order to talk about in context and avoid a misunderstanding. So here we have another example with the verb try. And when we have the gerund after the verb try, we mean that we're experimenting. And when we have An infinitive when it means that we are making the effort. So here I have two examples that says, I was trying to open the door, but I couldn't. So in this case, as you can see here, we're using an infinitive, trying to open the door. So it means, as you can see here, that we make the effort to open the door, but I couldn't, it says. What if I change? I was trying opening the door, but I couldn't. It means that we are experimenting with the door. The second example was it. Why don't you try using this key? In this case, we're using a gerund after the verb try. So it means that we are experimenting with this key. But if we change it, why don't you try to use this key? It means that we are making the effort with this key. So we have to bear in mind this, and we have to be very careful because the meanings are different. So if you want to express something and you don't know, you don't bear in mind this. In fact, here we have some different verbs that accept infinitives and gerunds, but they change the meaning of the sentence. So here we have forget, the verb forget, go on, kid, regret, remember, stop and try. So we're going to check until remember because we have already checked stop and try. So forget. I forgot to meet him. So it means that I didn't meet him because I forgot to do it. Then we have it following a gerund. So we have here, I don't have the memory of meeting him before. So you can see the differences and the different meanings that they have when we use an infinitive, when we use a gerund with the same verb, forget. Go on, he went on to learn English and French, and it means he ended one period of time before this. And when we use a gerund form, it says he went on learning English and French, so it means that he continued learning the languages. With the verb kid, first we're going to analyze what does it mean when we use the infinitive form. So she quit to work here, so it means she quit another job in order to work here. But when we use a gerund form after this verb quit, it says she quit working here, so it means that she quit her job here and she doesn't work here anymore. But when we use the verb regret, it means it says I regret promising to help you. It means I'm sorry that I made a promise. But when we use it with an infinitive, I regret to tell you that we can hire you. So it means that I'm telling you now and I'm sorry. So when the verb remember, it says she remembered to visit her grandmother. It means she didn't forget to visit. She remembered visiting her grandmother. With gerund, it means she had memories of this time. So you are aware now of the differences when we use the same verb but with a gerund and with an infinitive. It changes in this special case of these verbs. So here we're going to continue with the practicing time. So in this case, it's so easy what you have to do. So you have to choose the correct option between gerunds and infinitives according to the verb that that is after the gap. So you have to be careful when and be aware of the list of the verbs that can be followed by infinitives and the list of verbs that can be followed by gerunds. So as you can see here, there are 10 exercises, so I'm gonna be helping you with the first one, and then you're going to work along by your side, and you can pause the video in order to analyze better what we're talking about. But I'm gonna be then saying the answers in a quickly way, so you can correct them. Yeah. So first of all, we have here, I often go, and the options are dancing or to dance on a Saturday night. So go is a verb that goes with gerund. So in this case, I often go dancing on Saturday night. So then we have the next exercise that says, when I finish to writing this letter, I'll come and help you. So the answer you already know is writing. I'm buying or to buy a new laptop soon. So the answer is to buy. I'm planning to buy a new laptop soon. Then we have, I need sleeping or to sleep at least 8 hours a night. We need here an infinitive, and so the result is I need to sleep at least 8 hours a night. I want moving or to move to London next year. As you know, want accepts infinitive, so the answer is I want to move to London next year. The next exercise says, would you consider to give or giving the speech at our anniversary party? Would you consider giving the speech at our anniversary party? The correct answer is giving. So then we have, she avoids to walk or walk in the rain. As you know, avoid is a verb that accepts the two different forms, gerund or infinitive, and it doesn't change the meaning of the sentence. So it can be to walk or walking, but in this case, I want to use she avoids walking in the rain. But if you chose to walk, it's correct also. Emily promised to eat or eating all her vegetables. The correct answer is to eat. Then we have, I don't mind call or calling them if you don't want to. The correct answer is calling. And finally, we have here, you need to practice to listen or listening. The correct answer is listening. You need to practice listening. So the next activity is related to those special verbs that can be followed by infinitives and gerunds, but they change the meaning of the sentence. So you need to bear in mind the different context of the sentences that we have here in order to choose the best option, choose the correct option, or here in this case, as you know, gerund or infinitive. So as I said previously, if you want, you can pause the video, but we're going to work together with the first and with the second exercise, and then you're going to work along by your side, and then I'm just going to check the correct answer. So here we have the first exercise says, Jack remembers buy eggs at supermarket because he always takes a list. So the verb that we have to fill with is buy. So we have to fill with the infinitive or the gerund form. So I can say here that because it says he always takes a list, So here remember just for this reason, so I could say that here the correct answer is to buy, and it's right, it's to buy. Jack remembers to buy eggs at the supermarket because he always takes a list. Then we have Jason stopped playing or to play the piano at 6 because it was time for dinner. So he stops doing it for dinner. So the correct answer is playing, as you know. And then we're going to just reading with you the correct answers. I certainly didn't forget to ask him the questions because he's already giving me his answer. Janice stopped to make a telephone call before she continued with her shopping. Then we have, what's the worst thing you regret doing in your life? Have you forgotten to get a present for your wife on your anniversary? Oh my God. Alan stopped drinking years ago because of a serious liver problem. I regret to tell you that we are going out of business next month. I remember playing football when I was in high school. Unfortunately, I didn't play much during the games. Finally, we have, I don't think I'll ever regret falling in love with my wife. We've been married for over 30 years. So cute. So, we have finished with this. So we have finished with this exercise, and you can check now if you have worked properly, if your answers were correct in order to analyze them. And if you have some mistakes, analyze it and think about it so you can work better in the next activity. Yeah, so consequently, here we have the last activity of this lesson. This is a trivia. Through this trivia, we're going to analyze and check all the contents that we have checked during this lesson. So, the question number 1 says, a gerund ends in ing. Is it true or false? Is it true? You know, gerund is the base form of the verb plus the ing suffix. So then we have an infinitive is the base form of the verb. Verb plus ing. To plus verb and ing. And to plus the base form of the verb. The correct answer, as you know, is to plus base form of the verb because we have first the word to and then the base form of the verb, or in this case, to cook. So the third question is, identify the infinitive in the following sentence. So I remember to ask my mother about a park. Is it infinitive remembered? Is it infinitive about? Is it infinitive to ask? Yeah, the infinitive is to ask. So here we have to choose the correct answer. So she just finished studying for her exam. As you know, finish accepts gerunds. So we're going to think about this. Is the sentence correct? He finally decided talking about it. Yes or no? No. Is the sentence correct? I miss playing soccer with you. Yes, it's correct. So here we're going to complete the sentence. It seems being or to be a very fun place. It seems to be a very fun place. In which sentence is the gerund used as the object of the verb? Swimming in the ocean feels good. I'm swimming in the ocean, or I love swimming in the ocean. The correct answer is I love swimming in the ocean. So this is the lesson for today, but don't leave this lesson until you know what is the homework about. You have to complete the sentences with true information about yourself using a gerund or infinitive in each sentence according to the verb that needs to be followed by an infinitive or a gerund. So you need to be aware of all the things that we have checked during this lesson and talked about yourself. It's easy, very easy, and I hope that you enjoy doing this homework because you need it to reaffirm your knowledge that we have acquired here and to know if you have learned or not, or maybe if you need something else, or maybe if something is not clear for you. So you need this homework in order to clear your doubts. So if you have any question, you can contact me as always to my email account, and I'll be answering you any doubt, any question that you have about the lesson, and also you can tell me what you want to improve also in this lesson. So I would like to invite you to be with me the next lesson, the lesson number 4, to continue learning and continue improving our knowledge about English. So the next lesson is going to be dedicated for a specific and an interesting topic that I'm pretty sure that you like it. So thank you very much, and this was the lesson number 3, and my name is Aula Orlanges, and it was a pleasure for teaching you and guiding you through this video. So this is all. Bye bye.